This is one of the amplifiers that I've revised many times since I found it. It's a Philips amplifier, stereo amplifier, model 5520. And originally there were a lot of tone controls here, but I've mounted here a piece of metal, took away all the tone controls, and in such a way that the bass and the high are at its maximum. We have here quite a few other tone controls. For instance, loudness, that's cont, scratch, rumble. So there are enough tone controls in this amplifier left. This is the inner side. The first revision was in 1999. I replaced the bridge rectifier. And the second revision was in 2009 and the third in 2011. And in 2009 I mounted this resistor. It's a 10 ohms resistor and it limits the current to the end transistors. It's a stereo amplifier and I found that these end transistors got very hot and burned out after, say, 10 years or so. And by mounting this resistor, the current was limited. It gets somewhat hot. That's normal, of course. But now the heat is dissipated in the resistor and the transistors don't get so hot any longer. And it does not deteriorate the sound. The sound is still perfect. And here you see the end transistors. They are mounted on an aluminium plate. They get quite hot. It's an old school amplifier. And here you see how it was made in the 70s. Completely classic. Beautifully made. High quality amplifier with a beautiful sound. And here you see the whole bunch of wire. I had to replace all the tone control potentiometers and revise the circuit. But that was very successful. And here is finally the balance potentiometer, and of course, as I have told earlier, there are enough tone controls here. Quite a good amplifier, and I can advise when you have such an old amplifier to limit the current to the end transistor somewhat by a power resistor. Of course, you have to study with an oscilloscope whether this gives audio distortion, but when you operate the amplifier on a somewhat lower audio level, it doesn't have to be a problem. And these old amplifiers with their beautiful sound can last for many years. I had to do some adaptations. I made a kinch socket here. These amplifiers in the 70s were all made with DIN sockets, Deutsche Industry Norm, so an industry norm from Germany. And in the 70s the kinch sockets became very popular. They came originally from Japan. All the Japanese amplifiers had kinch sockets, and the Philips amplifiers had DIN sockets. But these sockets have won the race, so I had to mount this socket. You could see that it's completely isolated from the metal chassis, because in such an amplifier we have only one ground earth connection. That's very important with audio amplifiers. That's also in my books and in other videos on my YouTube channel. And in fact I also have to change these three electrolytics. They are now very old, they are still from the 70s. They give a little bit hum, so don't panic about electrolytics. The hum is so low that it doesn't disturb the audio sound, but perhaps with new electrolytics the hum will diminish a little bit more, and perhaps that gives a little bit better sound. Beautiful old Philips amplifier from the 70s.